Hello, welcome back to my channel. It is the day we've been waiting for, the final parts, 56, 57 for my collection, to complete my Golden Art Nouveau tarot from Total Tarot. Let's just have a quick look here. So, my Golden Art Nouveau, I'm saying it's the final, I'm pretty sure it's the final. Let me just double check this. Yeah, I do have two other kings. Imagine if I'm saying that and it's not. So there goes my final king, and that is my entire deck. So we can have a look through that at the end. I just noticed a little, I don't know if it picks up on camera. There's a tiny little, I'm guessing wherever they're cutting these, it's the same place on all the cards. See that little bump there? So that'll be a chink in the blade that's been cutting the cards. Interesting. So that's just a nerdy thing for people who work in print shops that might be aware of that with the guillotines, the electric guillotines, and the cutting devices are used. So we will have a look through the final at the end. And of course this one comes with the Liber T, and actually, thank goodness, a decent deck. I'm just going to leave it there. So parts 56, 57, let's get straight into 56. And we are talking here, we're going straight into esoteric meanings and alchemy. We have the medieval tarot that's mentioned there already. I don't know that I've actually pulled it out and played with it yet. I don't think I have, to be fair. But it is a very nice deck, image-wise. So using alchemical meanings when reading tarot can guide us towards self-discovery. So there's lots of different links and things that work with the tarot, and alchemy is one of the esoteric kind of layerings as well that comes into it. So there are plenty of things within under the title of esoteric / alchemy that you can use and bring into your readings. And it's a massive rabbit hole, to be fair, going into the alchemy, alchemical processes and things. And stuff that I think the more information I got, the less I think I felt I knew. So I will leave that with you all to look into. And there's so many kind of alchemical decks out there as well, with information in. So here we have some phases of alchemical transformation. The Fool is the alum, the salt of intellectual life, the chaos that must be organized. The Magician is the alchemist, i.e. the operator who prepares to produce the great work or the opus. The High Priestess is the raw material of the sages, the enigma to resolve before continuing on the path. The Empress is the celestial water that contains the three parts of the human essence, body, mind and soul. So that gives you a little taste of some of the things that this is discussing with alchemy. That's really interesting. So this looks like it's from start to finish. So far, first 4 pages, very interesting, and something that I'm going to probably enjoy reading. How to use alchemical reading, so it gives you a kind of translation on how you're using them. Here we have temperance in alchemy, as in life. Temperance teaches us that complete success requires measuring each thing and using the right portions. And I have Maximus Prime here joining me today, so I'm sorry you can hear him grooming himself. He's not very well. And we have the Devil's Work, and we have one here on ancient history. The Six of Wands card in detail. So symbols with the laurel, the crowd, the man on the horseback, the horse, the cloak, and I've had quite a few people ask what this is. That is Pixie's signature. And you should find that in most of or all of the cards from the Radiant Wise Spirit deck. Tarot's thematics and meanings. So we have, again, it does personal life, divination, psyche and soul, what the card is showing us, and how it's talking for the Six of Wands. And then here we have the different types of Six of Wands. So we have the Lo Scarabeo, represents envy. We have Fae Tarot, a living gift. Nefertiti's Tarot brings water when needed. The Pre-Raphaelite is giving us optimism, although she doesn't look very optimistic. The Pagan Tarot from the last episodes gives us harmony. The Dark Grimoire brings message. The Manka Tarot brings communication, and the Shaman Tarot on the end with the lion there brings us meeting an ally. It's got that like complete Lion King feeling to it, hasn't it? And of course, you have your traditional meanings upright and reversed. Here we have the Worth Tarot, the Angels Tarot, and the Klimt Tarot. And still, I retain those two would have been nice to have received. Correlations, number 6, Tippereth. Is it Tipper? Is that how you pronounce it? Or is it Tifereth? Beauty. Element is fire, planet is Jupiter, and the sign is Leo, with the esoteric name being Lord of Victory for the people following Deacon Walk. Tarot spreads. So this is called The Nature of Light. Again, not one I've ever come across. It uses 6 cards, as you can clearly see here. The objective is to understand all aspects of person's best side. So we have a 5-pointed star with the 6th card in the centre. So the spread helps us understand a person's qualities, particularly those that show their inner light. So we have prompt number 1, the star itself. Prompt number 2, how the stars shine. Prompt number 3, the star's light is reflected. How the star's light is refracted. The star's shadow, and how the star burns. That's probably going to be quite an interesting one for, some like self-introspection and reflection and journaling. Especially if you're feeling, you go through those phases where you feel like you've lost your sense of self. So that's probably a nice one to do, just to liberate yourselves. She says, moving on to the Liber T Tarot. Okay, so this is it says here, it's called a complex esoteric deck inspired by Aleister Crowley and Frida Harris's Thoth Tarot deck. So what I was going to say was it's inspired by the Thoth Tarot, which for those of you who aren't familiar, looks like this. This is the pocket-sized Thoth. And I'm glad that this one's in here, because this is a deck that I was wanting to purchase anyway. And the Thoth is slightly different from the Radiant Wise Smith, although both decks were based on the Book of Thoth, which is one of the decks that came early on in this series, which is nice to have. It's not one that I've used, because the card setup is very different to how these have been set up and how I've learned to work. But this deck will have lots of similarities. I'm assuming in this deck there should be some very familiar kind of images, although I think they've taken it one step further from what we would call illustrated pips. So some might call this just pips, but they have been illustrated. However, I think in the Liberty Tarot they've added some other images as well under that illustrated pips kind of guise. So I'm pleased to see this. I would have loved to have seen the Universal Thoth, which I do believe comes from Lo Scarabeo, because that is a very pretty deck. It's this one just upgraded and done in standard Lo Scarabeo format, really. So that's one I would have liked to have seen come through, because then you've kind of got a better basis on the two systems, since we have the Marseille as well. So here it just talks the Liberty Tarot, also known as the Tarot of Stars Eternal, published in 2007 originally, results from a collaboration between Roberto Negrini and one of the most important Italian esotericists. He is one of the most important Italian esotericists, and Andrea Serio, who is a talented artist who has previously illustrated the Dante Tarot. Another one which I'm not actually familiar with. I've heard of it, but I can't recall images for that one. This completed deck draws its inspiration from the English occultist Aleister Crowley, his thinking and his thinking and the Thoth Tarot, which he designed between 1938 and 1943. The minor arcana from the original deck were not illustrated. This is why Negrini and Serio decided to explore the world in the minor arcana in more depth, completing and supplementing. So the what I'd call the pips or the minors have been altered in this deck. Liberty Tarot deck can be challenging to work with. It is most suitable for more advanced readers who want to explore and perfect their knowledge of symbolism and esotericism. Yeah, that's true. However, you can still use this deck if you don't understand this information up here. And I'm going to be very honest. the font that it's drawn in, I can't work out what most of these are. I know they're supposed to be in the cards as well, but I was having a hard time finding them when I had a quick sneaky peek before I started filming. Using the major arcana and intuitive reading, the reader can feel resonance with the deck's magic. However, the minor arcana, the reader should follow the astrological associations indicated on the cards. Each card features image of stars in a constellation. So what do we have? We have stars here. We've got some stars here. Or the symbol of a zodiac sign or planet. Readers should not feel discouraged if the meaning of the minor arcana seems impossible to fathom at first. The Liber T Tarot cards should be considered a destination to reach after years of study and experience. So, Thoth Tarot can be picked up by a beginner as well. So, I don't know that this has to be an advanced. Granted, the layering of it might be more advanced, but the basics of the reading can be for anyone. I personally, humble opinion, think when people start with Liber T, they start out learning Crowley's summary. The Thoth Tarot by Aleister Crowley and Frieda Harris represents the culmination, blah, 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 blah. In this work, Crowley summarized his own beliefs of philosophy and magic, which he derived from years of study and research, and that of the teachers that came before him. One of those teachers, Samuel Liddell Mathers. It says here it's an untraditional deck. And here we have the meanings. So the Fool, for instance, all roads permit innocence. Do not be man or woman, but rather both in one. So this is how they are depicting the meaning of the Fool, but you can still read the Fool as new beginnings, unknown, uncharted territories. So yeah, permitting innocence, like that stepping off point, uncharted territory, don't know where you're going, blindfolded as you go forth into the good night, if you like. So there are things here, the Magus being the magician, create freely, absorb joyously, share steadfastly, consolidate completely. You could quite easily turn that back into, being master of your own creations, because you're creating freely, joyously, steadfastly. You're consolidating your resources to create what you feel you need to move forwards. So there's definitely things here. High Priestess, penetrate through the reflected by the veil of the Virgin, celebrate the union of Pan with Artemis. Penetrate through the reflected of the veil. So there you have the veil, which would be in the RWS. So again, hidden knowledge. I don't know what the Virgin has to do with it to be precise. That's my own ignorance there. So take that out because it's going to be confusing if you're unsure. And celebrating the union of Pan with Artemis, again, not really sure about that bit. It's not something I would use in my reading. I don't know how that would enhance a reading if I was reading for the High Priestess, but I would certainly use it about looking underneath what knowledge is waiting to be uncovered, and go from there with that one. So here we have some theoretical principles, the major arcana. So the Justice card is called Adjustment, the Strength card is called Lust, Temperance is called Art, Judgment is called Aeon, and the World is called Universe. That is just some of the nuances to the Thoth Tarot. It tells us here about the minor arcana and the courts. So we have pages, princesses, knights are princes, queens are queens, and kings are, it says here king knight. So I'm guessing it has both words on the cards. So a bit different from our page, knight, queen, king, because we have the knight at the top. So in Thoth, I believe it's knight instead of king, queen, and then we have prince and princess as the same. So that's a slight difference there. It talks about the radical elements. So the aces have been separated out here. So we have the aces for each suit. And it talks about how they are, what do we have? So we have active, receptive, multiplier, divider. So that's quite interesting. That's some new knowledge and information to me. The 36 deacons of Thoth. So here we have them listed. So I've talked about the Deacon Walk. T. Susan Chang, I believe, has a Deacon Walk book. I believe that's one that I've been using. There's videos on my channel for that if you wanted to know what I'm doing with the Deacon Walk. And I'm not doing it as per the books specifically. So just bear that in mind. And here we have the Aeneid of the Sceptres of Fire. So start with number 2 because Ace is up here, and then we go to number 10. So number 10 is 7 in 1, oppression, imprisonment, defense of boundaries, and tyranny. So that's interesting how that works. So I would need to explore this for myself to understand how they're talking about that being deacon related, because it's not, I don't quite, I'm going to have to get up there and have a look, to be fair. So we've got like 2 to 5 in A, E, I. So I'm not sure what I stands for. C. So is this air, earth? Somebody help me with a word for wands. Cups. F. No. F, B, J. Okay, yeah, there we go. Pass. And then you've got a sneaky peek at the cards in colour. So very, very attractive looking deck. Just let's have a little look here. Romantic Tarot is next with a free storage. Oh yeah, always a free storage box. So that's nothing new. Okay. I'm going to have to see what comes after this, because honestly, I probably don't want that deck. Now that I've got my full deck, I can be picky and choosy. So we have Esoteric Means on the Kabbalah, the Tarot Illuminati card. So that one came earlier on in the collection. I was really excited to get that deck, but when I got it and got it up close, the kind of pixelations in the cards sort of annoyed my eyesight. So that was a strange moment for me to have a deck that I wanted and not like it. So we've got lots of information here. So we're very, it was all very Kabbalistic. So it talks here about the branches of the Kabbalah, Major Arcana, Minor Arcana, Hebrew letters of the alphabet, the Tree of Life, and here we have the translation. So the Hebrew letters transliteration. I've never heard of that word before, but so I guess that's how you pronounce them. Then we have the French association, so they're matching them to, so matching the Hebrew letter, how to pronounce it to the card. What's Sephora? It might link to, and then we have the English association. Oh, it's slightly different with the Fool. So it starts, so the French association starts on the Magician with Aleph, whereas the English starts on the Fool. So they're all one out. I suppose that's more of a nerdy thing to know, isn't it? But useful nonetheless. And of course your Tree of Life there, so you can see where they all go and what links into what, and there's your cards. So we've got our tower here, between 7 and 8. And we've also got symbols there. So we've got the 27th. Sagittarius, what am I talking about? Is that Aries? And who might that one be? Can't see if we're looking. Can you all spot it? The Devil? Yeah, that would make sense. And then we've got Temperance. Okay. Things to learn. All in good time. Card in the details, 7 of Wands. Defending at all costs, so the defensive card, defensiveness card. Taking a stand. And straight into it with our different types of meanings. So we have breaking a barrier. I like that one. Accepting assistance. That's also a very good one. So letting your defenses down because you need the help. Facing, although that's kind of opposing, isn't it? Facing danger. Going against the trend. Yeah. I like that. We have spiritual struggle with the wands, so that makes sense, with the kind of like spirit essence of the wands and flames. We have adversity. That just, it still reminds me of like Princess Fiona. Bringing light into the dark and protecting what is precious and defenseless. I like that one. And then there we have the Klimt and the Worth, giving us the different depictions with the Angels Tarot and the upright and reversed. And we are number 7. Netzach, which is victory, element is fire, planet Mars, sign Leo, Lord of Valor for the 7s. Astrology meanings. Oh, this is a nice little kind of pull out, isn't it? So signs of the zodiac, and we've got some basic meanings. So for Aries, exuberant, passionate, impulsive, spontaneity or spontaneous. They are individualistic and have a domineering spirit. Anyone know an Aries that sounds like that? Gemini, Taurus, a practical sense. Discretion. They have a lot of love. They like beautiful things, I've noticed. So expensive quality items. Quality over quantity. Nature and comfort. You might notice lots of Taurians are either gardeners or have a lot of plants or natural materials in their home. Kindness, persistence, but they can be very, very jealous. Geminis, what do we have here? Brilliant intellect, curious creatures. They have a need. So usually that is for whatever it is that they're pursuing when it says need. Communication, because they are ruled by Mercury, which is a communication planet. Caustic wit. How many of you think? Yeah, so sarcasm comes hand in hand with a Gemini, but it is usually wit as well. They are relentless. Inconsistency. Well, that's because they are fast thinkers. So once they've communicated what they need to do, if it's not going anywhere, they'll change direction as fast as they started because they've already worked out it's not worth following, which kind of comes back into their intellect for that particular star sign. Let's have a look at Virgo, which is another great one. So efficiency, hard work, foresight, attention to detail, love of order and critical spirit. So Virgos are great. I love working with Virgos in the workplace when we're doing a project because they often spot things that I miss. And can sometimes have like amazing insight and workarounds to get to what you need. So I find Virgos really kind of great because their attention to detail is amazing. And it's not that, I'm being lazy in my attention to detail. It's just they've gone like an eye for it. So they are great team workers when it comes to projects. Let's see what we have to say about Capricorn, because they always get a hard rack here as well, don't they? Rationality, ambition. So lots of Capricorns, I think, become sort of higher up managerial. Seeking security. Yeah, there you go. So that goes hand in hand with the ambition, seeking security and stability because of the money that they're looking for. Persistence, patience, diplomacy. Don't know about that one. And utilitarianism. Also find Capricorns to be really good with computers, by the way, as a side note. So that's quite interesting. Planets. So we have the... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, so it's just the 7, which also matched then to the days of the week. And then over here we have the major arcana. So it's showing us the full matches and air signs. So we have the air symbol. The magician is Mercury, and there's our sign for Mercury. The high priestess is the moon. So it gives us the planetary aspects and astrological aspects to the major arcana here, which will then make it easier to translate into the Liber T Tarot. So that's very useful to have. And the world there ending on Saturn. Let me just say, the devil is Capricorn. Always makes me laugh when I come across that one for them. Numerals, what do we got? The 2 of Cups is Venus in Cancer. Oh, this is really nice. Really nice. Something I've not been able to get my head around or learn or pop into my head, but this would be really useful. And of course we have our signs up there as well for the elements that we're talking about. So for our Ace of Cups, it's going to be the water sign there. So you could even add on to that. You could put the triangle there, and then you've got your full sign for the card. So I quite like this one. What have they done? So for the court cards, The pages, or in this case it's the princesses, isn't it? In the Deacon Walk, they are the element of the quarter for the season, so they don't get like a degree given to them, whereas the princess, prince/knight, queen, king/knight do. So that's what this is here. So it's also telling us what degree these sit in. So that's why this one says, that's why this says it's got the seasons, solstice, summer. So, and it's the sign in which they start. And then these ones, it tells us what degrees these signs are. So Aquarius is from 20 degrees in Aquarius to 20 degrees in Pisces. And that will be the knight or prince of the suit, and so on and so forth. Here we have our 5-minute readings. The goal: to identify the main aspect of a situation, to determine the best way to handle it, to communicate the response clearly, and to establish the practical action plan with the querent. So that is the goal to a reading in a nutshell. That's what we're doing. What to avoid when you're giving a reading: avoid chatting, avoid elaborate rituals, and don't use new decks, because if you're not familiar with the deck, it's probably going to throw you. However, if you have lots of decks in your collection, sometimes it's good to use different decks as you rotate through, just to get your intuition flowing faster. So double-edged there. We have the World of Tarot. So here we have Arthur Edward Waite. We have the Sun card down here. What's he talking about? His strong influences, encounter the magic, spiritualist movement, his early life, clues in the Sun, detail of the Sun card. So there's loads of books on this deck that you can pick up, meanings, and like dive even deeper into the RWS itself. And here we have the visual reference to the rest of the cards for the Liber T Tarot. So let's get going. Let's have a look at what we got. Waffled on for a long time. I think that probably shows how excited I was to get this deck. But in a nutshell, the magazines themselves have some really interesting information in them as well. So standard, these are the backs. I believe that's just this card. And of course it does say quite clearly Lo Scarabeo. Oh, here we go. We have the Fool. So these are going to be very different images to those of you who aren't familiar with Thoth, and those who are, you're going to probably thoroughly enjoy them. The Magician. Here's our High Priestess. So she's got her veil or netting there. We have the Empress. Emperor. There's still lots of stuff here that's very familiar. Here we have our Hierophant. I'm probably overly familiar with this card now, having done the Deacon Walk, so it seems like it's standardized. The Lovers. So we have kind of different elements here. So we have the Egg and the Snake. Here we have two people kind of reaching up to the cup, and then we also have the Union here. So it's like almost two unions happening in this one for the Lovers. The Chariot. I'm just going to say it, that looks like Mickey Mouse's head. And then we have card number 8 is Justice, or Adjustment. The Hermit. I love the fact he's carrying the sunshine in his lantern. I mean, the sun is so nourishing, you know, so just from that alone, the nourishment that you get from seeking the information, the knowledge within, being your own guiding star, your own bright light. I mean, you're not going to get any brighter than the sunshine either, are you, as a star? Here we have the Fortune card, our Strength card or Lust, number 11. And she's got the reins. The Hanged Man. This one's quite different, isn't it? Because we are actually pinned in 3 points. It's not normally pinned, is it? But seeing the pins in the 3 points, I'm not going anywhere near the religious connotations here, but the pins in 3 points to me shows that you are kind of stuck in a thought process. So to take that step back, that different approach, a different perspective, feels more poignant with this one than it would do normally to me, because of the fact that you're pinned. So you have to unpin yourself to see the perspective, or you just have to wait for a second till the perspective comes to you, so you can unpin yourself to become unstuck from the situation. Here we have the Death card. Looks like it's having a little dance. Temperance, art. So we've got some wording around the edges there. It's a very beautiful temperance card. The Devil card. Tower. So we've got that very fiery energy that we're used to seeing in Thoth cards. The Star. The Moon. And the Sun. And here we have our Aeon for Judgment. And the Universe, or the World card. Cups, a Cup of Babylon, look. Those are 2. So we've got extra images in to add to this. I wonder if there's a kit for this one, which might come with a book that has a bit more explanation. I do sometimes like the little white books, which is the one thing I kind of wish they set out with this deck, or the decks. Here's our 3 of Cups, our 4 of Cups, so it doesn't have that 4 of Cups that you get with the RWS kind of feeling here, does it? The one where the person's feeling, or they look like they're rejecting what's being offered to them, they're not happy with their lot. This one has a slightly different feel, more like they're heading out to get some more, not because they're unhappy with what they got, they're going off to get something else, because it definitely looks like, blowing the horn and off they go, tooting their own trumpet. 5 of Cups. So this image here is in the other one, the main Thoth, upside down pentagram. Here we have the 6 of Cups. 7 of Cups. You can tell that one's like quite sad. We've got lots of bleeding here. Although that would normally be like the kind of choice card. We have a lot of like flagellation, flogging going on here. Beating, so it's almost like beating yourself up over the choices you've made, I suppose. 8 of Cups, usually kind of walking away, but here they're carrying a heavy burden by the looks of it. Again, not overly sure what the chap at the top's doing, but they're definitely trying to pull some rocks together, aren't they? The burden is hefty. Here we have our 9 and our 10. Very interesting card. I forgot about that one. I know Robin at Toadstool Tarot now. This was a deck he was talking about. Now I remember. Here we have our Princess of Cups. Our Prince. So he's not moving. He's not on a... Doesn't look like he's on a steed going anywhere. Oh, and here we have symbols. So they are... Is that one? Yeah, so the symbols across these change, and I am an absolute terror. So obviously this is water. Which one's that? Is this fire of water? Air of water? I think water of water. I think. Don't shoot me. And one of them's earth of water. Is that one earth of water? Ooh. That's definitely tested my poor little brain. It's made it hurt now. I have to stop. Here we have our spheres, or pentacles. That's interesting. He's carrying his head under his arm. 3 of spheres. They seem to be getting the sustenance from the big bird. 4 of spheres. Can you hear my brain trying to work out the name of that bird? Oh dear. 5 of spheres. 6. So we've got lots of signs in that one. as we're going around with the 6, including Mercury. I can spot Mercury, the Moon, Venus, Saturn, Mars, Venus, Jupiter and Capricorn. No. Maybe. This is where the book comes in handy. 7 of Spheres, 8 of Spheres, 9. So again, we have the planets, same ones here, and 10. So it says Earth of Earth. Air of Earth. Do we call that one Water of Earth? Honestly. We'll keep going. Ace of Scepters. There's our 2. So I'm not sure what this actually brings, but because the 2 of Scepters or wands in the Thoth, I believe is very much like this. In fact, let's just quickly, if you're prepared to indulge me, because so that was the 5 of Cups where I talked about that one being quite similar. Let me put you on pause a second. Okay, so here we have the 2 there. So I think you see what I mean. I'm not sure what the character brings to this one that's different to that one, but nonetheless, I guess he has, his animal type feet that brings that kind of feeling of a bull hoofs or a ram's hoofs, perhaps. Just, And the 3, again, it's got a little bit of extra to it. So then we have our 4, 5, 6. That one's very pretty. All about the pretty. 7. So that one's a little bit different, and yet similar in so many ways. So the staffs appear to be resembling similarly, with a more kind of caveman type club in the middle. Captain Caveman comes to mind. 8. The 9, again, the pattern is exceptionally similar. And the 10. So I'm not going to do that one anymore. Just to give you an idea. And we will just pop through the rather lovely. These are very fiery looking court cards. No denying where they're from. And then into the swords. So that's our last suit. So 2, 3. That one's nice. That's not very pleasant, is it? Somebody sticking their palm on your face and trying to break your neck. Stopping you from having a difficult conversation in many aspects, isn't it? Holding on tight, somebody's trying to push away while somebody's trying to cling on too tight. I suppose that does have quite a sad aspect to it. Then with the blue, that brings in that emotional kind of feeling, doesn't it? But the blue also brings in that chakra, throat chakra, the element of needing to communicate, speak. Here's our 4. Almost bringing in the violet there as well, of the third eye. 5. Back to the communication. Very blue again. 6. I like the shapes and elements that are in them, with the, obviously that's representing kind of your colours of the earth, I'm presuming, isn't it? Yellow traditionally would have been air. In other suits, it's quite often depicted as yellow. Swords. Here we have our 7 and our 8. So we're kind of giving worship to this person over here. Or are we trapped within our own spirals? Trapped on our legs, needing a way out? Nine of Swords. It's more a kind of dance, isn't it? Look, someone's playing the pipe. Dancing to somebody else's tune, really, not your own, isn't it? Being controlled, manipulated by somebody else. And the Ten of Swords. So interestingly enough, in here we also have the heart, which would traditionally have been depicted in the three, and that particular sword is broken, like, so it's like breaking free of that strangulation. And within it we have the justice scales. We have religion. We've kind of got battling, dueling. In fact, both, it's like a truce there, to be honest, because they've both pierced each other. And we have like those esoteric symbols. And the Fool. So it's, with the ending comes the kind of new journey. Princess of Swords. Prince of Swords. Queen of Swords. There's a Knight of Swords, or the King of Swords. That kind of like dragonfly wings feeling to me there on the backs of the King/Knights of Swords within this deck, and then just the Liberty there. Okay, let's take a look at the one we've all been waiting for, or I've been waiting for. So I have the bag that came with the series, the big box. I will need to just bring it out a little bit to fit this one on the screen. And just so you know why I've been collecting this one is because it's bigger than the one that you buy on the shelves. I just fancied, one, I wanted some of the magazines and some of the decks that were in the collection, and two, I quite fancied a collector's version of this deck. So here are the backs. So this is the Golden Art Nouveau Tarot that came with parts 1 to 3 of this collection. And the RWS deck came with that one as well, which was the one that was out of print, you couldn't get hold of. So it's the same cardstock as everything else. So it, because it's bigger, it does feel a bit flimsier, but it's got a good bounce to it. So here we go. We're just going to flip through these. So they're in order, you know what they are. High Priestess. And just so you can see the beautiful golden shimmer. Very kind of classic art style, different to the Liberty, very different to Liberty. More muted palette. Again, just look at that with the sun rays. So this is going to go in numbers, so you can see all the aces, twos as it came through the collection. Okay. That was the four I was talking about, you know, where he's looking very kind of grumpy and miserable in the corner. So who else has managed to collect all of these? I know some people are collecting the, I call it the David Bowie deck, that comes So there's 2 decks, this one, and then there was another one. So I think that one extends the collection slightly for the people collecting the second deck. But yeah. And how many of the decks have you used if you've been collecting this? If you've been watching along, how many of the decks have you wanted, or has it inspired you to purchase separately from Lo Scarabeo? That'd be interesting to know. As I said, there's a few here that I would not have chosen to buy had it not been for the fact that I wanted to collect the cards. But it's not like, it was a huge expense. I personally found that for this, starting out at £16 and finishing at, where are we now? I think it's £18 a month. I really don't think that's that expensive to get a deck and magazines every month to play with. I think it's really reasonable, compared to the price of many mass market decks these days. Although the only thing I miss, as I said, is the little white books that you normally get with Lo Scarabeo decks. So I would have liked to have seen some little white books with these. And for that reason, I might purchase a couple of the decks as separates, and then perhaps I'll give away ones that I have, because the item information in the magazines I really like. So there we go. There is my complete collection of the Golden Art Nouveau, ending with the Liber T Tarot from Total Tarot. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed following this collection along with me. As I say, I don't know how many more I'll be collecting. It will depend on what they're offering as a magazine, as a deck. And I'm not sure if my money's been taken already, to be fair, for the next one. So that will depend on whether or not I have it. Until my next bunch of videos, I'll wrap this one up here. Take care. Bye-bye.